Hey guys, Erwan here, and we are at Landers, and it is Father's Day, which means it's time to buy all the things that us fathers need. Honestly, a lot changes when you become a dad, and one thing that for me that's changed a lot is my consumption behavior. I don't necessarily buy as much anymore, but I really focus on quality and longevity because I have like a little toddler running around and breaking things. So I'm gonna show you some of my favorite finds here in Landers. Let's get to it. I've been shooting a lot at home lately, and my garbage cans are way too small. So perfect 20 gallon, 74 liters, perfect, and that fills up my cart quite nicely already. And to that, I love storage compartments. One thing you realize when you have a kid is how much storage you actually need. There are so many toys, there's so many things you accumulate. There's a lot of things people give to you and you have nowhere to put them, and everything just starts looking like a huge mess. So things like this, storage boxes, help a lot. And especially if you're like me and you have a lot of technical gear that you don't necessarily need every day, but you need to store somewhere, it keeps everything nice and safe. The biggest learning curve for me as a new father was really about kind of managing time and how to make sure you have time for everything from business to work to your family to your wife to your friends, and really just balancing all that out. I've been a dad now for over a year, and I know it's only gonna get more intense as Dahlia gets older. She's only gonna get slightly more demanding in terms of her needs, in terms of education, in terms of things she'll be curious about and things she wants to learn. And so yeah, so I know it just keeps getting more intense, but I know as you get older and mature, you also have the capacity to deal with that a bit better and become more efficient. So it really is about writing down your priorities and really trying to stick to those priorities as much as possible, and always putting her at the top of my list. Always remember, at the end of the day, everything that you do as a husband and as a father, you should always think about your daughter or your child and your wife. We're gonna be going to the beach soon, hopefully. So I'm gonna get this full face snorkeling mask for Anne. I've actually always wanted one of these because it gives you like a really cool 180 view of everything that's underwater, and the snorkel goes on top, so you're less likely to have actually water coming into the snorkel. So tip for all the dads out there, always buy something for the wife when you're out. I'm a huge fan of kitchen stuff. I do have a lot of kitchen stuff, but we have a kitchen studio and we have a home kitchen, so now I have to make sure that I have 2 sets of everything in either of those locations. So we're always on the lookout for nice plates, nice cloths, nice boards, and I saw one thing that I think looks really cool. And it's like a vintage Lazy Susan. So it looks very like 80s, but I feel like properly styled, this with our food could really make things pop. And now that I have a small family and we're inviting more people because we're staying at home more, Lazy Susans make sense because you can kind of turn them around. So if you have dips or taco night, basically place thing in there, and then depending on where people are, they can spin it to their direction. So I think this is really cool. A couple of other things here. One thing about being a father, you realize you don't really have much time for anything. One of the quickest way to cook absolutely anything at home is to use a wok. You can basically stir fry, cook meats, everything high heat really quickly. The problem with a wok is that if you don't know how to use it properly, you end up having to season it so many different times, and seasoning can take up to 1 to 2 hours. So you can buy really nice non-stick woks, and there are a couple of brands here that we can look at. But if there's one kitchen pan that I think is the most versatile, it's definitely this one. Let's see what else do they have here. Let's go with aluminum steel. I was so excited when Dahlia started eating, simply because I knew it was gonna be the biggest experiment possible. You read so many books about how to feed a kid. Imagine there are hundreds of countries in the world, and those hundreds of countries probably all have their own systems on how to cook food for babies. So one person telling you this is what you need to cook for your child and this is the only way to do it, that one person's probably wrong. So at the end of the day, it comes down to common sense in terms of the ingredients you're using and making sure you're focusing on whole nutrition and whole foods that are inherently healthy. But then in terms of how you put those things together, it really is up to you. And I think the combinations in terms of flavor, texture, and just how things come together are absolutely endless. So for me, cooking has always been the most fun thing to do for Dahlia, and I think that's where we really bond, and she's become such a great eater, like knock on wood. And I think it's because I exposed her so early to so many different ingredients, cooked in so many different ways. And I think that's really important, and I think that's really key because it not only develops her aptitude for flavor and taste, which is not necessarily too important, but I think what for me is cooler about that is that I can literally give her anything, so we can literally be in any situation and I know she'll be able to eat anything without freaking out about, oh no, I forgot about her snack, or I forgot her water bottle with the specific flavor she wanted. Like all these things that a lot of the times we feel kids have certain very strong preferences when it comes to snacks, foods, toys, or books. But at the end of the day, I feel like that continuous, diverse exposure to different things make them more capable of being open and open-minded to different experiences and different things. And obviously she'll have certain preferences, but I think that's a cool way to go about it, is to live and learn, make mistakes, and kind of move on. And then eventually you'll figure out what she likes. And when we have ingredients that we feel she's comfortable already with, then we try to push the limit a little bit. I haven't given Dahlia spicy food yet, but I think that will be our next kind of frontier on how to start giving her chilies and things like that and see how she reacts to them and whether or not she'll like it or not. It's not gonna be torture, don't worry, but I think it's gonna be really fun to do. So when you buy spices and they're really annoying, especially with garlic powder, and kind of sticks and becomes clumpy, I found that this brand, Tangy, actually keeps it nice and dry and actually keeps it like a powder, which is really nice. When cooking for a kid, you're really limited in terms of adding salt and sodium and soy sauce and all these different things. So spices are a great way of adding flavor without necessarily adding calories or unwanted ingredients in the food of your kids. So I use a lot of spices when I cook for Dahlia. Some of my favorites, there's certain things like blends that you can go for, like the Poultry seasoning or the Holy Smokes. These are kind of very low in sodium and just have a blend of different spices to keep the food that you're making really interesting. But I like to keep it really steady and very simple. Things like cinnamon powder, ground coriander when you're making curries and things like that really brings a lot of flavor. Bay leaves also, obviously, for all your Filipino classics. Then if you want your kid to start kind of getting used to kind of, not heat, but the heaviness of spice, pimenton or paprika works really well, and it's not spicy at all. You can also get whole cinnamon sticks that I know a lot of people sometimes have a hard time finding, especially if you bake a lot. And yeah, there's a bunch of like freeze-dried herbs like parsley, coriander, tarragon. Those are all absolutely great. A couple of other products that I really enjoy. This is the new one from Tender Table, which I tried when I was in Australia. And it actually has jackfruit instead of pork. So if you're someone like me who gained weight during fatherhood, like if you're trying to watch your weight, switching up your meat to more vegetable choices is really good. So this actually uses jackfruit, which is really cool. They have different flavors. So I'll add a couple of these. And then if you want to add quick flavor to any dish, and don't want to use kind of the cubes, the stock cubes, these Better Than Bouillon ones are made from, it's literally, yeah, it's real. The first ingredient is roasted chicken. So you know it's the real deal and it's the real stuff. Chicken stock, I go through tons of these because I cook a lot of Dahlia's chicken, her vegetables and chicken stock, so it gives her flavor, and this doesn't have too much sodium either. For us adults, it's just a great way to kind of like steam vegetables, add chicken stock, blend it together, and all of a sudden you have soup. My main tip for food for children would be, don't be dish specific. And I feel like this applies to adults also. We tend to look at ingredients as to how they fit in a recipe. Whereas we don't look at ingredients as we would paint, you know, paint and paint brushes in terms of, okay, I have some cauliflower and some chicken, let's just randomly put it together and stir fry it and steam it, and it should be okay. We always look at, oh no, I wanna specifically make adobo, I wanna specifically make beef machado, and I will only buy those specific amounts and combinations of ingredients to make beef machado. But once you start thinking like that, then the issue with that is once you have one ingredient that's not there, you'll start thinking, oh no, I can't make this food anymore because I don't have bell peppers. And I think that limits us greatly as to what we can actually achieve. So I think if you look at recipes purely as just guides and then figure it out based on what you actually have available in your supermarkets or at your home, it won't be the same dish, but at least it'll be something that feels like it, somewhat tastes like it, but it also just opens up the possibilities in terms of what other ingredients you can do. If you like beef machado and say, okay, I'm just gonna replace the beef with chicken, then no, you can't call it chicken machado because it's a very different dish, but I'm 100% sure that chicken dish with the machado sauce will still be really good. So always look at it like that. Be playful with the food, and you'll see that your kids will love it. Right before exiting, I always make sure to come to this area right here that has all the chilled goods, all the meats, all the vegetables that you'll need, all the frozen goods that you'll need, and all the fresh vegetables that you'll need. I have never cooked so much in my whole entire life than since we got Dahlia. I'm cooking 3 meals a day, every day for me, my wife, and Dahlia. So I spend a lot of my time in this area here, multiple times a week, making sure that we only have the freshest food at home. A quick little tip I have for all the fathers out there, you know, we want to cook fresh food as much as possible, but then a lot of people turn to frozen food because it's convenient. So frozen food doesn't necessarily have to be pre-made frozen food, though you do have an amazing selection of that if you want something really quick, really easy. But one thing I really think is amazing are frozen vegetables. So something as simple as frozen broccoli, you might think it's less healthy because it's frozen, but really what happens is when they freeze vegetables, they're snap freezing them, which means that they're frozen at the peak of its nutritional value. The best part about frozen vegetables is that they're already kind of cleaned. Sometimes they're already blanched. So all you have to do is really quickly heat them up and you're good to go. So I like to keep some frozen vegetables at home. Either it's frozen packs like this, or it's something that I buy, I blanch fresh, and then I freeze it myself at home in some reusable Ziploc bags. The only reason I do that is because then cooking becomes so much easier. If I'm so busy one day and I can't necessarily cook at home, all I need to do is get one of these packs and just defrost them and heat them up, and I should be good to go. So there you have it. I have pretty much everything I need. I do this trip multiple times a week to make sure I have always the freshest ingredients and always have what we need at home. But if you're really in a pinch, you can always buy online as well. I personally like coming to the store more because I like to see what's actually there in front of me. I know it's weird, but if you want to do it online, you can. But honestly, I've been shopping at Landers for so many years now, and they really took the precautions to make this space feel safe during these times. And yeah, and honestly, look how big this place is. So you'll always feel kind of like naturally, socially distant, and everyone takes it really, really seriously. So I hope those tips help you out. If you're a dad or a mom, if that helped you out, I cook a lot for my kids. So if you guys want to see anything more in terms of food for babies, let me know. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Happy shopping at Landers, and stay safe. Peace out.